Are you excited for or scared to death of AI? Yes, I'm George Sells, Director of Client Services and Content here at Chemistry PR and Multimedia.
And I'm Chris Cuban, founder and CEO of Chemistry PR and Multimedia. Glad to have you here today. It's a great topic that everyone seems to be talking about, but we want to talk about it a little more in depth.
And we'll probably argue about it a little bit because
No, really?
yeah, because everybody's got a different space on it. We're going to set the ground rules here. Chris wants to automate everything. I'm kind of the middle guy. I really think AI is a great tool, and I think everybody agrees that some of the capabilities are absolutely amazing. But at the same time, I think there is an over reliance on it already. I think people are jumping the gun on places where it can be used. And I'm going to say this, and I will go to my grave with it, at least for the time being. AI can't write worth a damn.
Well, you're right to one degree. I mean, AI is challenged, but you put in, you get out, essentially. So you have to have some sort of a knowledge base or structure to what you put in before it gives you what you want out. And that's, I think, really challenging for a lot of people is they think that AI will do the thinking for them. And that's one of the biggest challenges is that we as a society are letting someone else do the critical thinking. And we need to be that strategic energy, that person that AI can really create ideas and establish a baseline. But it's going to take a human to go in, edit, and then kind of move forward and evaluate whether it's good or not and to make it better.
And you hit it on the head there about edit. It's a great idea starter. First of all, it's like you're kind of struggling. Where do I want to go with this? Or sometimes, is there anything I'm leaving out? You know, that sort of thing. It's great for that. But the best advice I think I've heard to this point about AI is to treat it like a really knowledgeable intern. Basically, you're not going to hand the prospectus that your company is banking hundreds of thousands of dollars on to an intern and just say write it and send it. You're going to have the intern do the initial grunt work, then you're going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, find what's working, find what's good about it, improve it where it needs to be improved and where you can, and then you're going to put forth a finished product that is polished and handled the way you want it to. And I think that's kind of where I'm seeing AI, because there are these places where there are gaps. There are these places where it's messy. You can tell an AI email from a mile away.
Well, yes, but I think you're undervaluing what AI is. And it's not just the writing component, where you might have the intern, as you call it, the senior marketing director, you might have the PR person, the knowledge base within AI to be able to put something together that's amazing, and you can even make it better. But you need to be strategic, and that's what we do as communicators, is help people understand that a bad message is a bad message. AI is not going to help that. But if you put in a great message and you want to enhance it, I mean, it all starts with that base, your positive proof points, your home base, what we call a message map. But AI is not just about writing. No. AI is about strategically making your organization better. And if you're not using Claude Code, you're not using Cowork, you're not using ChatGPT in the right ways, I mean, you're going to be left in the dust.
Oh, no question about it. And that's where, again, great tool. And it's the concept, like, for example, the research it can do, the fact that it can take a 80-page report and break it down to something a little more digestible when you're looking to find highlights. The fact that it can go and search an incredible number of databases in just a few seconds on any topic that you want to work with. Now, you may find yourself doubling back to check and make sure everything is coming from the right place, but particularly when it's sourced, the research is incredible. And that's, as a business person, I mean, God, the money that it saves as far as time spent, say, on research is absolutely incredible, and that's one of the huge benefits of it. And again, that's where I kind of fall somewhere in the middle on it, is the idea that the creative piece is something where the people still need to be involved, and the people definitely need to be checking the output. But at the same time, if you're not using it for research, if you're not using it for different ways that you maybe can condense some of the tasks you have around the business and around the office, then yes, indeed, you will be left in the dust and wondering, kind of scratching your head, wondering
So
what
let's
happened.
boil it down to this: AI is a tool. Being strategic is more human based. And in order for a company to be strategic, you need humans to basically run the AI. And this is really important because what you're trying to do, how you're trying to do it, why you're trying to do it, all needs to be synthesized by a human.
Talk about what we're doing in the office. Chris has done a lot of work on a system. He loves this. So I'm teeing you up here, Chris. Here comes the softball. A system that will take a bunch of the different products. We all have all those programs, that there's the program comes in and it can do all these amazing things, and you use about 10 or 15% of the capabilities for your actual business.
Well, let's
Well,
back up a minute. What George is saying is that I had a conversation with ChatGPT for like 2.5 hours, and it was a big picture thought. It was a big picture conversation as to I want to eliminate all my SaaS subscriptions and create my own operating system so our company can run the way that we run. And that took about 2.5 hours, having ChatGPT ask me questions one at a time until it had enough information that it could create a Claude Code prompt. I then took that prompt into Claude Code and it started a program where we're 2 months into it, but within the first 3 weeks, we developed a program that would eliminate all of our SaaS subscriptions. And we've enhanced it. So for every component we want to add into our operating system, I will have a conversation that might be an hour or 2 hours long with a ChatGPT style. Then it will create a Claude Code and implement that feature of the software. And it's really about helping us be more strategic in how we operate, focused on data specifically, learning from what we do and how we do it, and getting better at communicating the way that we communicate. So even the emails that Claude Code may create for us, we will change it and edit it and send it out to people. And then Claude learns from the way that we operate.
and that's always the thing that is important, is that it will continue learning, and that it may get better eventually. It may get to a point that you can take more of the guardrails away, but at this point, the outputs that are leaving the building are the things that you need to keep an eye on. The good news, though, for this, and this is what I was talking about when I was getting into the efficiency piece, is that it's designed for our business. And this is where you can really make some inroads, is using AI to develop things that are specific to your business, that are specific to you doing the things the way you want to do them, and not wasting a bunch of time and space on other things. Now, not perfect. You've had to get a little help in on dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the back end.
And honestly, I consider myself a laggard when it comes to trying new software and new things. And the irony is that I never would have tried Claude Code when it first came out unless it was for Tara Barnes, who is a forum mate of mine, an EO, who actually placed Claude Code on my computer and said, think the biggest thing you can possibly do to help your business. And this has been a process. Every weekend, every week, there's a new idea and a new component that we put in that helps us do our business better.
And Chris's wife thinks he's having an affair with Claude, but that's another thing altogether.
It is very addicting, but the reality is that once you put the strategy piece in and you develop components and tools, and that's exactly how I'm using it. I'm using it as a tool, but it's prompting what we do and how we do it. So it's making us think deeper, it's making us think better, and be more strategic in how we operate.
So there's your super duper business positive as far as using AI tools to make your business better. Let's talk about some of the pitfalls now. Specifically, let's talk about what the kids are calling AI slop. And I sound like an old man when I say the kids are calling, but my two kids talk about it all the time. And you've seen it if you are on any social media platform at all. You've seen it in your email. And it's really something, Chris, I think we have to all kind of start to be wary of, because people are getting to the point that they will read the first sentence of an email, and if it has a certain cadence to it, if it quotes your biography on your LinkedIn page, particularly, or if it quotes something on your LinkedIn page that is 10 years old, and I have received countless emails that quote like 10-year-old information from my LinkedIn page that I probably should have just lopped off of there anyway. And it's abundantly clear what it is. And I know I stopped reading. I think a lot of other people are stopping
So,
reading.
of
And,
course,
and that's where strategically we've got to be super duper careful. And it's not, and in some ways it kind of stinks because, like, you know, for example, some of the ways that you write maybe use something that are now a tell-all or a catch for a chat GPT, a tell that you're having to avoid.
so we all know this. I mean, AI is a draft, and you have to use a human to finalize it before you send it out. And I think more of us are getting weary of the commercials. It's a trust factor. Is you can see commercials on TV that are clearly identified or made by AI. This is a trust factor for me because if they're using AI, they're trying to skimp on their marketing budget and they're trying to get things done cheaper. It may sound good, but it looks like it's all AI generated. It's not a real person that's speaking on their behalf. And I can name probably about 4 or 5 companies that are currently doing this online or on OTT or on TV, and they have lost my credibility by using it.
It's
Now,
a fine line though. Like some of it's funny. Like, you know, some of them they're
oh,
clearly
the
trying
babies
to
talking with the St. Luke's commercial is funny.
they're trying to be funny. They're using AI to do it. Whatever. I'm cool with that. You can discuss if you like talking babies or if you find them creepy, but that's another thing altogether. But it's the ones to your point where they're kind of trying to fool you, and
Exactly.
that's where you got to be
that's
careful.
where, I mean, people that are knowledgeable and understand AI and how it operates. I mean, you and I can pick this out, but 90% of the general public, including most of the elderly population, would have no clue. Now, the advantage of AI is that we've been able to take video, interview somebody like Michael Steinberg, who is the developer of the downtown Chesterfield development, and interview him, use his words, use his likeness, use his image with the interview, but intertwine and make actual renderings come to life. And you can tell they're renderings, but the reality is you bring it to life and people get to feel what it's going to look like.
And
They
that's
get to
the
see
trick.
it. Yes.
That's the trick. Is just using it in a way that is transparent, even though you're not going to slap an AI CG across it or something like that. But there are ways to use it where it's transparent. And I'll push back a little bit on one thing you said about 90% of people not being able to recognize it. The younger you go, like I've got a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they can look at this stuff and they'll scout it out like snap. They
Well, that's
get
one
it.
of the
And the younger
challenges.
audience, the younger, you're not going to fool the younger audience. And I think that that's a mistake that some companies and some brands are making. It's like if you really think you're going to fool you might fool the 50 plus crowd. You're not going to fool the 18 to 34 group. And you know, that's your next market. That's where the money's coming from. You blow that trust now, you're setting yourself up for failure over decades. And so that's another thing that I think it's just a matter of maintaining credibility and also just a sense of
Well, there's
honesty.
also a
sense of
negative
honor.
side to AI in that a lot of the crises that we see are manufactured crises. I mean, if you look back to the Crackle Barrel incident, I mean, 80% of all the backlash on the Crackle Barrel rebrand was all AI generated. And when you think of the amount of bots that are out there, the amount of misinformation that you're seeing, that's all generated by players that are not that don't have great intentions in mind.
You know, and I'll kind of put a bow on it with this. And this is sort of where AI is taking us. Years ago, my wife and I moved to Long Island outside New York City, and I was talking to a guy, been on Long Island all his life, and he goes, you know, the thing about Long Island is you're often going to be looking over your shoulder just wondering who the next guy is who's going to try to rip you off. Well, that's kind of what AI is doing, I think, to the marketplace in general. So I think to put a bow on things, use it as a tool.
You need to be
Use
strategic.
it honestly. Be
Yeah.
strategic with it. Use it honestly. Don't try to fool people, and don't overuse it. And when I say overuse it, sending an email every day to a potential client that's being auto-generated or something like that, you're just
gonna
gonna
get
annoy
blacklisted.
people into submission. And that goes back to
Exactly.
being strategic. So keep an eye on what you're doing with AI. You definitely need to be using it. And if you're not, you're missing out. But be careful about where you're going with it.
The amount of research it can do for you and the just the amount of quick time is phenomenal. Like, we can analyze thousands of pages of documents online and reports and come up with a 1-page or 2-page dossier to where we fully understand an organization, to where it's a baseline to start with, and then you start asking questions. So you're still going to need that human interaction, but the baseline can be the research of using the AI as a tool.
So I'm not quite sure if we answered questions or just created more, maybe
Well, let's
a little
start
bit
the
of both.
conversation. I mean, I think that's the whole purpose of this, is to have that conversation, help people create those tools and use those tools wisely.
I'm George Sells, Director of Client Services and Content here at Chemistry.
And I'm Chris Cuban, founder and CEO of Chemistry PR and Multimedia. Thanks for joining us on The Lab at the Chemistry PR and Multimedia Studios.
We'll see you soon.